Yeah, hi, welcome. This video is suitable for the junior school and for the high school students. Our topic for today is performance techniques or the performance features. It's a question that you've been coming across. I'm not sure whether you've been giving the right response, but I'm here to help you understand these performance techniques. They usually applied in poetry and in oral narrative. Technically, in any performance that you do, you can apply these features when if you're giving a speech or whatever. But for this purpose or this lesson, we are going to apply these features in poetry and in oral narratives. That means by the end of this lesson, you should be able to answer these questions. How to make the story a narrative interesting, or how to make the recitation of a poem interesting. These performance techniques, as I said, they are used in poetry and in the oral narratives. Were you performing as an oral narrative, or you are reciting a poem in front of the audience, you'd want to make it interesting to capture the attention of the audience so that they remain glued to the poem or the story. So you do that by applying these performance techniques. These features are categorized into two. First, we have the non-verbal cues and the verbal cues. You might be asked, what are the verbal cues that you're going to use to make a narration interesting? For that question, you have to use only the non-verbal. If you are asked the verbal, you just use the verbal. But if the question is general, you can use either the verbal or the non-verbal. Do not confuse the three questions. Non-verbal means communicating without necessarily using words. And we have several ways. First of all, we have dramatization. This dramatization is imitation of an action. If you walk like me, the way Semi works, you are dramatizing my walking style. If you run like me or do any action that I do, that is dramatization. In that case, you're not using any words, but anyway, you are communicating. And people will tend to laugh. Dramatization is the same as imitation. In junior school, they use imitation. Number two, we have the gestures. We have several gestures. Like if you want to call someone from afar, you can use, or maybe you can point them. You have a gestures like thumbs up, like thumbs down if you dislike somebody. So many gestures. Waving to say goodbye, etc. If that poem, you need to use any gesture, then you indicate it there. Number three, we have the facial expression. These are the expressions in our face or on our face. Right now, I'm smiling. At times I can frown. If I'm angry, I can frown. I won't put the same facial expression that I put when I'm happy. So this facial expression, when you're narrating a poem that requires somebody to be angry, really angry, you put on that angry facial expression. And if that poem requires some happiness, it's about something that makes you happy, you can smile to show that you're happy. We also have some other facial expression to express anxiety, surprise, we are afraid. So many facial expressions. So you can apply this also when you are narrating a narrative or reciting a poem to make it more interesting and capture the attention of the audience. Eye contact. As I'm teaching you right now, I'm not looking away, I'm not looking down, I'm looking at you in the eye. Why? Because I want to show that interest. As a performer, as a narrator, you have to maintain eye contact with your audience, and it's very important. The last one, we have the pose. This means you are narrating a poem and then all of a sudden you're quiet, like for 30 seconds, like for a minute. So if you're quiet, we expect you to say something. It's called a pause, and some people call it a pregnant pause, because after the pause, we expect you to say something. Verbal ways. Now in the verbal, you're using your words to express your message, to capture the attention of the audience, etc. The first way is mimicry. Mimicry is the opposite of dramatization. So we were imitating an action at this point, but now we are going to imitate the voice, which means you have to speak. If you can speak like me, you can cry like the hare, cry like the hyena, as you are narrating your poem, as you are narrating your narrative, and then you are creative, you come up with the sound of the hare, the hyena, the tortoise in the story. It's going to really capture the attention of the audience, and you will see them laughing and clapping. So that's number one, voice imitation. Number two, we have the tone variation. You can use high tone, low tone, the same as intonation, rising tone or a falling tone. For example, at the end of a poem, the very last line, we normally use the falling intonation to show finality or to create emphasis. If it's a statement, it's a falling intonation to create emphasis. How about yes, no questions? So I'd refer you, if you want to learn more about this tone variation, have a look at the rising and falling intonation, and you will understand all these things. Aside from that, we have the stress. This refers to the amount of force that you put to some certain words to create emphasis. In poetry, we have the words that you normally stress in a line. The main verbs, the adjectives, the adverbs, and the nouns. You can consider that when you're talking about stress. Remember, if you're stressing a word, you have to use your voice. That's why this is a verbal way. And then you have proper word articulation. You're articulating your words properly. You have to articulate your words properly. Lastly, we have the voice projection. You have to be audible enough for everybody to get your message. Voice projection is the same as audibility. You're audible enough, we can hear you. Here, you are articulating your words properly, and we can understand it. We have the mother tongue interference. Sometimes somebody will pronounce a word and you don't understand it. So try as much as you can to be good in articulating these English words. For our illustrations, we are going to use this poem on the board. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to tell you how this question is asked. The different ways in which the question can be asked. A friend is one who stays even when the world is grey. A friend is one who smiles and walks with you 1,000 miles. This question can be asked in several ways. How would you make the above poem or narrative interesting? How would you make the recitation interesting? Or how will you capture the attention of the audience? Or maybe they might specify what are the non-verbal ways that you'll use to make or to capture the attention of the audience. What are the verbal ways you would use to capture the attention of the audience? For that, you have to choose the verbal or the non-verbal. If it's general, you can use these to understand your question first. How are you going to make it interesting? We are going to use these ways. Remember, if you mention just dramatization, no mark for you. If you just mention without illustrating, no mark for you. You gotta illustrate for you to get a mark. Let's have a look at it again. Read it, pause your video, read it again, and then try before I give you the right response. You have number 1, appropriate facial expression. Which facial expression? For instance, a friend is one who smiles. When you're reading that line, you're not going to frown, going to smile. Number 2, and works with you 1,000 miles. Yes, we are going to dramatize by walking. You won't stand. When you say, oh, a friend is one who smiles and walks, you have to walk. I can walk here because of what is here, but you can and walks with you 1,000 miles. That is it. That's what you apply at this particular point. Remember, if you don't illustrate your word, then it becomes no mark. How are you going to get it right? Practice. Try as much as you can to practice. At the end of the day, it's gonna be easier for you. And to practice, you can learn that on our website at a very low cost. We also have another feature that we have forgotten to write here, which is the body movements. The body movement is very general, but you can also include the body movement at this point because it's a non-verbal way of communication or a performance feature.